For more on the plane crash and its effect on the football world, I am joined now by Jamil Chade from Zurich. He's a journalist and the author of Politics, Bribes, and Football. Jamil, I heard one fan of the team saying today just 4 words: it's hard to cope. This was a pretty small city. It was a big team, though. It had really captured the hearts of the people, hadn't it?
That is very true, Mike. Thank you for having me. Chapecoense is a very small town, and this team represented the pride of this town. But not only the pride of the town, the pride of a model of an administration that was rising. In 2009, they were in 4th division. And now, just a couple of years later, they're actually fighting for the title, for a regional title. And amidst such a crisis of corruption in Brazil, of a crisis of credibility of football, they were a symbol of what could work well. And of course, their loss is a loss also, of course, for the city, but also for this new model, young model, but a very well established administration that was leading the team to very big successes.
And Jamil, as you're pointing out, this is really kind of a Cinderella story. This team really rising up, doing the things the right way, capturing the city's heart, and then such a tragedy. It's really shaken the sport, hasn't it?
It does. It does shake a lot of principles, let's say. That's why you have reactions from Barcelona, from Real Madrid, from the big teams in England, but mainly from the big teams in Brazil. They all saw and they all recognized today that Chapecoense was a team to be followed, in at least in terms of its behavior inside the pitch, but outside as well. What we see today is, for example, the big teams of Brazil promising to lend players so Chapecoense can continue its story. Very short story, but a very brave one. You also see, for example, Atletico Medellin offering actually the title of the regional cup to the team that, of course, was the victim of the accident, declaring Chapecoense as the champion, basically, of South America, at least of this regional cup. So you have a recognition amongst the officials, amongst the fans, and basically in society, that this could be a way forward for Brazilian football, a situation that, of course, in Brazil is very contested, a situation in football in Brazil that you have a lot of problems still very present.
And Jamil, I want to get your thoughts on one other aspect of the story, which we really haven't touched on. The plane carried more than 20 Brazilian journalists. I know you knew many of them. The president of the Brazilian Newspaper Association shared this note with journalist friends around the world, and it reads in part: although death is a fact present in our daily lives, we are never prepared to deal professionally with the tragedy when it sneakily and suddenly hits us in full. It's tough to tell a story about a tragedy. It's even tougher to tell the story when the people who also suffered from this tragedy are your colleagues. Talk to me about what this has done to the journalism world in terms of sports journalists like yourself.
Yeah, very true. It's not only the sports world that is mourning in Brazil, also the journalists. I mean, we knew many of them. I knew personally at least 10 of them. And of course, it is very shocking when you see their names in the list. They were journalists covering a final of a regional championship. They were very good professionals above all, and they were actually doing what we do. We cover games, we go out to the pitch, and we actually want to broadcast this emotion of these games. Some of them will remain in the history of Chapecoense because they actually follow the team in this very beautiful story that Chapecoense had. Now, of course, when did you have last time a situation that over 20 journalists died at once? Of course, this is very tragic, both for the football world, but of course for our media segment of society. Of course, we're all mourning in Brazil as well. And these are people that actually are going to be very missed.
Jamil Chade joining us. Thank you so much for your observations and thoughts. And our thoughts are with you. Obviously, it's a tough day for journalists as well. Toby.